What's going on, guys? It's Alex with another batch of gaming news. And today we will quickly summarize all that new information we got about Cyberpunk 2077 in the last Night City Wire episode. So on the 10th of August, CD Projekt Red hosted the second episode of their livestream series called Night City Wired. For those who missed the previous ones, it is a series of small live streams during which the developers talk about Cyberpunk 2077, show gameplay, trailers, and explain various mechanics in the game. They will continue this series to entertain the viewers until the very release of the game. So in this episode they talked about life paths. These are like the backgrounds of your character which determine where you come from and how you end up in Night City. They also talked about the different types of guns and how they work, and showed us some more gameplay footage in a couple of new trailers in the process. So the presentation began with 3 short trailers in which we could get a feel for each of the starting life paths without spoiling anything. And later, the developers explained the influence that each life path would have had on the walkthrough of the Maelstrom gang mission we saw in the previous demonstrations. First was the street kid. These are the people who grew up on the streets of Night City and know their way around street gangs, their slang, and are well versed in the ways business is done amongst street gangs. One new bit of information is that it seems like the street kid background will have the players already be acquainted with one of the fixers in Night City named Padre. Fixers are these people who have networks of contacts around the different districts in Night City and will provide you with jobs. So Padre is the fixer that operates in Haywood. And in the Maelstrom gang scenario, the street kid would be able to act naturally during the deal with the leader of the gang and seem more trustworthy. Then there were the quite romantic, I would say, nomads. These are people who are hungry for freedom, who were raised in the desolate desert around Night City called the Badlands. These are hardened and loyal people who have only their family and the car they drive through the desert. In the Maelstrom gang scenario, the nomad would not be able to discern what the corpos want out of him breaking and taking the drone, but a nomad would know how possibly a gang could get their hands on military-grade technology. And last was my favorite, which I'm definitely going to pick up on my first playthrough, the corpo. These are people who lived the life of the higher-ups in Night City. They are those who had to walk over corpses to climb the food chain of the corporate world and be part of the shady dealings that keep the city going. As a corpo, players will have a past in the enormous Arasaka Corporation. This will allow the players to read between the lines, as the developers said, when doing business in the game. Everyone always has an additional motive, and in the cutthroat corporation environment you know that better than anyone. In the Maelstrom gang scenario, when ambushed and interrogated by the corpos, a corpo player would be able to discern what are their actual motives and adjust the conversation and dialogue options accordingly. Also during the interview, the developers confirmed that indeed the Badlands are not merely a starting area for the Nomad backstory, but is a fully playable enormous area surrounding the city and can be visited whenever you want. So anyone who was worried can now calm down and look forward to ride the desert outside the city. Then there was like a pretty lengthy segment where they were talking about their cooperation with a band called Refused. You see, in Cyberpunk 2077, Johnny Silverhand, the breathtaking dude inside your head played by Keanu Reeves, was a lead singer in a band called The Samurai. Their music and the band are probably going to be mentioned quite a few times in the game, so it was a big deal for the developers to get the right people to be the voices of the band. By the way, if you are interested, they have some of the Samurai's songs from the game available on all music streaming platforms, so you can check them out. Then they finally moved on to the spicy part, the weapons. They showed it in a trailer where a woman named Wakako Okada, maybe she's another fixer in Night City, offers a job to the protagonist. While she talks, we see how in the background V is arming up and showing several weapons in his arsenal that represent the different weapon types that we will be seeing in the game. Tech weapons are a special class of weapons that use electromagnetic mechanisms to propel projectiles at enormous speeds and give you the ability to shoot through walls and different types of cover. Power weapons are a weapon type that is most similar to modern weaponry. They are simple, crude, and powerful. These weapons are heavy and their bullets can ricochet off of surfaces, enabling you to hit hard to reach enemies by adjusting the trajectory of the bullets. And smart weapons are the most futuristic of the guns in the game because they are equipped with guided projectile systems that allow them to shoot bullets that lock onto enemies and change their trajectory to hit the target even if it is moving. Melee weapons are quite self-explanatory. Amongst them we could see some bats and sledgehammers, besides the famous futuristic katana we saw in other gameplay footage. And last but not least, cyberware. This class includes all body modifications that you can equip yourself with, like the mantis blades that unfold from your arms, or the gorilla arms that give you inhumane strength. Then they had an interview segment where they explained the two types of modifications you can have for your weapons, attachments and software. Attachments are the visible part of your weapon's customization. These are scopes, barrel attachments, clip mods, etc. Software are internal modifications that are like chips that are installed in the weapon. These can increase the qualities of the weapon, like damage, fire rate, accuracy, and that sort of stuff. At the end of the presentation, they announced that all who are hungry to find out more about the lore of the game world can purchase The World of Cyberpunk 2077. It is an encyclopedia of sorts created by CD Projekt Red in collaboration with Dark Horse Books. It details much of the lore and locations that will be in the game, and should provide a great read while we all wait for the game to be released on November 19th, 2020. And that's it for this news. Thank you everyone for watching. Please don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more news coverages like this one. This was Alex, and I'll see you next time.